As we continue our discussion on logic, I want to remind you of what we covered in the last presentation. So if you remember, we defined 4 tables, one for and, one for or, one for if then, and one for if and only if. And these tables give us the truth values for all possible compound statements. So we're now going to use those tables to begin to work some problems. So let's look at a problem where we are asked to determine the truth value. We are told that P is a true statement, Q is a true statement, and R is a false statement. And we want to determine the truth value for the statement P and Q. So I'm going to begin by writing down the truth value for the P. So we know that P is a true statement. So I'm going to put a T underneath that P to say that that is true. I'm going to keep my symbol. Now I'm going to do the same thing for the Q. So the Q is also a true statement. So I'm going to put a T for that one as well. Now I need to know what that's equal to. True and true. And so in order to determine that, I'm going to go back to my table that has the and in it. I'm going to look for the one that has true in both of the simple statements. And I'm going to note that the answer is true. And so my final answer for P and Q is that that's a true statement. All right, let's do the same thing for P or R. So I'm first going to identify the truth value for the P. So we know that P is true. I'm going to put my or statement in between. And now I'm going to look at the R. So we're told R is false. So I'll put an F there. So now I need to remember what true or false is equal to. So I'm going to go back to my or box, and I'm looking for the one that has T or F. So that would be this one, T or F. And my truth value is also true. So my final answer on this one, also true. For the next one, Q and R. So the truth value for Q is true. I'm going to put the and symbol in. And now I need the truth value for R. R is false. So I'm now going to go back to my and table, and I'm looking for true and false. So here we go, true and false, and that's going to equal false. Okay, we're going to continue this same problem on the next slide. So now we're looking at if R, then Q. So let's get our truth value for R. R is false. I'm going to use my arrow. And now I'm going to do the truth value for Q. Q is true. So we'll go to our if then box. We're looking for false, then true. False, then true, has a truth value of true. Okay, so the next one, we need to look at the negation of P. So we know that P is true. Remember that when you move from the original statement to the negation, you change the truth value. So if P is true, the negation of P is going to be false. We have our double arrow, and now we'll look at the truth value for R. R is also false. So in my table for if and only if, I'm looking for the statement that has false on both sides of the arrow. That statement is true. And for the last one, we have a parenthesis. So let's deal with what's inside the parenthesis first. I'm going to come up here and just kind of work on the parenthesis part to begin with. So the negation of P, remember again that P is true, so the negation will be the opposite, so it will be false. The negation of R is false, so the negation will be the opposite, so that'll be true. Okay, so I need to go to my chart for the OR, and I need false or true. False or true is true. All right, so what I know now is that this parenthesis part is equal to true. I'm going to bring my symbol down. And then the Q has a true truth value. So now we have true and true. I'll go to my table. True and true is still true. Okay, we're going to do one more example. Now this one is a different example. So in this case, we're told that P is false, Q is true, and R is false. So we're going to begin with the negation of Q. So if Q is true, the negation of Q will be false. And P, we're told that P is false. So we have false or false. False or false is false. The next one we have Q, which is true. We have the arrow, and then we have R. R is false. So this is an if-then statement, starting with T, ending with F. So if-then, starting with T, ending with F, would be here. And that's a false statement. The next one, we have the negation of P. So again, we know that P is false, so the negation will be true. We have our double arrow, and then we have Q, and we're told that Q is also true. So we have an if and only if statement where we both have trues. So that's going to equal true as well. All right, and then these are the last two parts to that same problem. So we have the negation of P. Remember, P is false, so the negation of P would be the opposite, so that would be true. And then we have the negation of Q. Q is true, the opposite of that would be false. So on our if-then table, we're looking for the one that starts with true and ends with false. All right, so this is the one that we have marked here, true, then false, and we know that that's false. All right, and our final problem, again, we have a set of parentheses, so we'll work inside the parentheses first. So I'm going to come off to the side and do this part first. The negation of R is false, so the negation will be true. Q is also true. So we're looking at our AND chart. We're looking for two trues. So that's here with a true result. So I now know that the parenthesis is true. I have my double arrow, and I have a false for the P. So now we're looking at an if and only if statement that starts with true and ends with false. That has a false result. And so our answer to this one will be false.